Hello! Hang on, we've got new theme music. Hold on just a second.
Oh.
Here we go.
Is it gonna be fun? Yes, indeed. And then Mike read.
I'm not sure if that was loud enough. I'm gonna do it one more time.
Is it gonna be fun? Yes, indeed. And then Mike read.
So yeah, I'm Mike,
I'm Em.
and that intro theme was from our good friend Barn Costello. Thank you so much, Barn, for writing that. We're gonna find a nice way of integrating that. Who knows? Maybe we'll even get like an opening animation or something if we have a lot of time on our hands.
All these promises.
So many promises. Yeah, I might be signing us up for failure. So we just finished chapter 8, the Chateau d'If. Dantes is definitely in lockup,
Yes.
and he wants to see the governor. He can't
Yeah.
see the
And
governor.
I think he's finally coming to grips with the enormity of what Villefort has done to him.
Yeah, right. And like he's going to the dungeon. Actually, he's going to the dungeon with the madmen.
Because he, fought the guy. He's like, I'll strangle you or whatever.
I'll smash you with this stool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, no one can see it, but we have a giant poodle behind us.
Yeah, new poodle. We're borrowing a poodle.
We're
So
The poodle is letting himself be borrowed.
yeah.
Yeah. He's
So
back.
if there's any like sudden like movement in the background, that's what's going on.
It's a dog.
Also, we have popcorn. Let's do this. Chapter 9. The evening of the betrothal. How about you start this one?
Okay. Villefort had, as we have said, hastened back to Madame de Saint-Méran's in the Place de Grand Cour, and on entering the house found that the guests whom he had left at table were taking coffee in the salon. That makes it seem like he was gone 5 seconds, but I'm pretty sure he was gone a lot longer. All
Well, I mean, we've been following Dantes. Maybe once he was wrapped up,
I
like
guess.
sort of condemning him to
All right, yeah, all
prison,
right.
he was like, all right,
That's
now
fair.
back to my nuptial dinner.
That's fair. Renee was, with all the rest of the company, anxiously awaiting him, and his entrance was followed by a general exclamation. Well, Decapiteur, guardian of the state, royalist, Brutus, what is the matter? Said one. Speak out. Are we threatened with a fresh reign of terror? Asked another. Has the Corsican ogre broken loose? Cried a third. I don't know what a Corsican ogre is.
No, me neither. It sounds like a racial epithet.
Yeah, sounds a little racist, maybe. Marquise, said Villefort, approaching his future mother-in-law, I request your pardon for thus leaving you. Will the Marquis honor me by a few moments' private conversation? It is really a serious matter, then, asked the Marquis, remarking the cloud on Villefort's brow. So serious that I must take leave of you for a few days. So, added he, turning to Renee, judge for yourself if it be not important. You're going to leave us? Cried Renee, unable to hide her emotion at this unexpected announcement. Alas, returned Villefort, I must. Where then are you going? Asked the Marquise. That, madam, is an official secret. But if you have any commissions for Paris,
Paris?
you're saying Paris?
I'm saying Paris, yeah.
All right. For Paris, a friend of mine is going there tonight and will with pleasure undertake them. The guests looked at each other. You wish to speak to me alone? Said the Marquis. Yes, let us go to the library, please. The Marquis took his arm and they left the salon. Well, asked he as soon as they were by themselves, tell me what it is. An affair of the greatest importance that demands my immediate presence in Paris. Now, excuse the indiscretion, Marquis, but have you any landed property? All my fortune is in the funds. Gus is just watching us from far back. All of my fortune is in the funds, 700,000 or 800,000 francs. Then sell out, Marquis, or you will lose it all.
All right, hold up. So he's asking about investments. Do you have any landed property?
I guess is that.
Is that like, do you own land?
It must be.
And then he's saying, no, all my fortune, all my investments. He has investments in mutual funds. Is that what they're talking about?
I have no idea what the like economics were of the time and where people were putting their money. But maybe.
This sounds like insider trading. Like Vilfour's like, sell now, because
Yeah.
I got some news in my head.
It sounds like, yeah, my fortune is in the funds. That's some kind of investment. Sell your investment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you.
Okay. So here we have, presumably, this is the Marquis. Looking, I guess at this point, he looks pretty relaxed considering that he's just been sort of wrapped up in some insider trading. This is Villefort, who's in shadow. We can't really see his face. Got a heck of a jawline here. I don't know what that is. That looks almost like a fake beard.
Yeah, it's pretty thick.
And like this eyebrow is unreal. Or is that a bald spot? Like what's going on here?
I have no idea.
Okay. But how can I sell out here? You have a broker, have you not? Yes? Then give me a letter to him and tell him to sell out without an instant's delay. Perhaps even now I shall arrive too late. The deuce you say, replied the Marquis. Let us lose no time then. Wow, Marquis is all in on this insider trading.
Random.
And sitting down, he wrote a letter to his broker, ordering him to sell out at the market price. Now then, said Villefort, placing the letter in his pocketbook, I must have another. To whom? To the king. To the king? Yes. I dare not write to his majesty. I do not ask you to write to his majesty, but ask Monsieur de Salvieux to do so. I want a letter that will enable me to reach the king's presence without all the formalities of demanding an audience. That would occasion a loss of precious time. But address yourself to the keeper of the seals. Wait, hold on a second. Is this still Villefort talking here? No, it's going back and forth. So this next one, this is the Marquis speaking. But address yourself to the keeper of the seals. He has the right of entry at the Tuileries and can procure your audience at any hour of the day or night. Tuileries, my pardon. Doubtless, but there is no occasion to divide the honors of my discovery with him. The keeper would leave me in the background. Pardon. Bless you.
Merci.
Monsieur Marquis, do you require a handkerchief?
I do not.
The keeper would leave me in the background and take all the glory to himself. I tell you, Marquis, my fortune is made if I only reach the Tuileries. Tuileries? Tuileries the first, for the king will not forget the service I do him. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, Mr. Salvieux, who's Mr. Salvieux? Do we know who that is? Have we heard that name?
I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't remember.
It's maybe familiar. Okay. He wants to see the king. He wants the king's audience, but he doesn't want to divide.
Cut.
He just wants to talk directly to the king because he doesn't want to like split up his discovery with anyone else.
Right.
Okay.
And maybe he's being, and it sounds like he's being dramatic.
Right. And he doesn't want, like, the king will not forget the service I'm about to do him.
Right.
Okay. In that case, go and get ready. I will call Salvieux and make him write the letter. Be as quick as possible. I must be on the road in a quarter of an hour. Tell your coachman to stop at the door. You will present my excuses to the Marquise and Mademoiselle Renee, whom I leave on such a day with great regret. My engagement party, perhaps my wedding day, it is still unclear. You will find them both here and can make your farewells in person. 1,000 thanks. And now for the letter. The Marquis rang. A servant entered. Say to the Comte de Salvieux that I would like to see him. Now, then go, said the Marquis. I shall be gone only a few moments. Villefort hastily quitted the apartment, but reflecting that the sight of the deputy procureur running through the streets would be enough to throw the whole city into confusion, he resumed his ordinary pace. He's like, be cool. Be cool. At his door, he perceived a figure in the shadow that seemed to wait for him. It was Mercedes, who, hearing no news of her lover, had come unobserved to inquire about him. Oh, gotta face the Mercedes here. Face the music. As Villefort drew near, she advanced and stood before him. Dantes had spoken to Mercedes, and Villefort instantly recognized her. Her beauty and high bearing surprised him, and when she inquired what had become of her lover, it seemed to him that she was the judge and he the accused. The young man you speak of, said Villefort abruptly, is a great criminal, and I can do nothing for him, mademoiselle. Mercedes burst into tears, and, as Villefort strove to pass her, again addressed him. But at least tell me where he is, that I may know whether he is alive or dead, said she. He's still wearing these glasses. These like Morpheus glasses. It's like nighttime, I think.
Yeah.
You're wearing sunglasses at
And
night.
he's got the frames are tiny unless he's got a really wide nose.
Yeah. Also, I think his pants are on backwards.
He does kind of look like he's got front butt.
Total front butt. That's a technical term. This looks like front butt. All right, take it from there.
And Mercedes is like, stop right there.
Yeah. Speak to the hand.
Mm-hmm. I do not know. He is no longer in my hands, replied Villefort. And desirous of putting an end to the interview, he pushed by her and closed the door as if to exclude the pain he felt. But remorse is not thus banished. Like Virgil's wounded hero, he carried the arrow in his wound. And, arrived at the salon, Villefort uttered a sigh that was almost a sob and sank into a chair. Yet, well deserved.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, I can't really feel bad for Villefort right now.
No, he's... Then the first pangs of an... Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
This is going to be...
Take it, Dumas.
Then the first pangs of an unending torture seized upon his heart. The man he sacrificed to his ambition, that innocent victim immolated on the altar of his father's faults, appeared to him pale and threatening, leading his affianced bride by the hand, and bringing with him remorse, not such as the ancients figured, furious and terrible, but that slow and consuming agony, whose pangs are intensified from hour to hour up to the very moment of death. Then he had a moment's hesitation.
Wait a minute.
He had frequently called for capital punishment on criminals, and owing to his irresistible eloquence, they had been condemned. And yet the slightest shadow of remorse had never clouded Villefort's brow, because they were guilty. At least he believed so. But here was an innocent man whose happiness he had destroyed. In this case, he was not the judge, but the executioner. As he thus reflected, he felt the sensation we have described. It's weird. It's weird to have that voice.
Yeah, weirdly formal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have to have the author's voice insert itself.
Yeah.
That sensation that we have just
since described in the previous paragraph of this book.
Yeah, it's weird. He felt the sensation we have described, and which had hitherto been unknown to him, arise in his bosom and fill him with vague apprehensions. It is thus that a wounded man trembles instinctively at the approach of the finger to his wound until it be healed. But Villefort's was one of those that never close, or if they do, only close to reopen more agonizing than ever. If at this moment the sweet voice of Renee had sounded in his ears pleading for mercy, or the fair Mercedes had entered and said, "In the name of God, I conjure you to restore me and my affianced husband," his cold and trembling hands would have signed his release. But no voice broke the stillness of the chamber, and the door was opened only by Villefort's valet, who came to tell him that the traveling carriage was in readiness.
Okay, so there's some remorse there. I thought...
Yeah, some. He's like, oh, if only there'd be a sign, if someone came through to stop me. But no one's here to stop me, so...
I mean, he's not putting on a show. This is Dumas writing... I understand, I think, what Dumas is trying to do. He's not trying to paint him as, like, this just straight-up ambitious evil guy. Like, he's trying to show that there is some remorse here.
There's some tension.
But he's still going through with it.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like... Yeah, it seems like he's, It's like he's almost not taking responsibility for what he's doing.
Yeah. All he needs is Renee or Mercedes to show up and he'll crack.
Yeah. But he's like, no one came, so.
So I guess it's, defaulting to being a dick.
Yeah, default to being a dick.
It's your fault for not showing up.
Yeah, that's. Villefort rose, or rather sprang, from his chair, hastily opened one of the drawers of his desk, emptied all the gold it contained into his pocket, stood motionless an instant, his hand pressed to his head, muttered a few inarticulate sounds. And then, perceiving that his servant had placed his cloak on his shoulders, he's like, huh! He sprang into the carriage, ordering the postilions,
Sure,
to drive to Monsieur de Maren's. The hapless Dantes was doomed.
Monsieur de Saint Marin, is that the Marquis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so maybe it's... Yeah.
Okay.
Monsieur, yeah. Go for it.
As the Marquis had promised, Villefort found the Marquise and Renee in waiting. He started when he saw Renee, for he fancied she was again about to plead for Dantes. Alas, her emotions were wholly personal. She was thinking only of Villefort's departure. She loved. Oh, the author is like, dadgummit! If only Renee had just been thinking of Dantes, all the 90% of this book would have been avoided. She loved Villefort, and he left her at the moment he was about to become her husband. Villefort knew not when he should return, and Renee, far from pleading for Dantes, hated the man whose crime separated her from her lover. Oh, that's interesting. So now she's mad at Dantes too. What's going on here? Is that Renee? I thought they were outside. I didn't realize they were in the bedroom.
I think this is like skipping ahead. I don't think we've come to that part yet.
Okay. Oh, maybe this is Mercedes. Meanwhile, what of Mercedes? She had met Fernand at the corner of the Rue de la Loge. Okay. She had returned to the Catalans and had despairingly cast herself on her couch. Fernand, kneeling by her side, took her hand and covered it with kisses that Mercedes did not even feel. Now's not the time, buddy. She passed the night thus. The lamp went out for want of oil, but she paid no heed to the darkness, and dawn came, but she knew not that it was day. Grief had made her blind to all but one object, and that was Edmond. "Ah, you are there," said she, at length, turning towards Fernand. "I have not quitted you since yesterday," returned Fernand sorrowfully. Monsieur Morel had not readily given up the fight. He had learned that Dantes had been taken to prison, and he had gone to all his friends and the influential persons of the city. But the report was already in circulation that Dantes was arrested as a Bonapartist agent, and as the most sanguine looking upon any attempt of Napoleon. Sanguine looked. I apologize. And as the most sanguine looked upon any attempt of Napoleon to remount the throne as impossible, he met with nothing but refusal, and had returned home in despair, declaring that the matter was serious and that nothing more could be done. Sanguine, saying for blood, the most blood. Maybe the most bloodless?
No, I don't know.
Or maybe the most important, the people of higher blood?
Let me take a little.
Oh, we got a Catarus coming up, but I don't think he's got any dialogue. Yeah, sanguine. We're going to define sanguine.
I know what this means.
I've seen it, never used it in person.
Oh, yeah. So it's optimistic or positive, especially in an apparently bad or difficult situation.
So even the most positive, the most optimistic.
But it also can
we're like, no, you're screwed, bud.
But it also can mean blood red or bloodthirsty, which is like. So context is everything.
Okay. Catarus was equally restless and uneasy, but instead of seeking, like Monsieur Morel, to aid Dantes, he had shut himself up with 2 bottles of black currant brandy in the hope of drowning reflection. But he did not succeed and became too intoxicated to fetch any more drink, and yet not so intoxicated as to forget what had happened. With his elbows on the table, he sat between the 2 empty bottles, while spectres danced in the light of the unsnuffed candle. Spectres such as Hoffman strews over his punch-drenched pages, like black, fantastic dust. I have a feeling this is an artist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's...
Like some kind Hoffman strews, that might be doodles, over punch-drenched pages. I have no idea. Who is Hoffman? No. Comment below and let us know.
Who is
All right, why don't you take it from there?
Okay. Danglars alone was content and joyous. He had got rid of an enemy and made his own situation on the Pharaon secure. Danglars was one of those men born with a pen behind the ear and an inkstand in place of a heart. Okay. Everything with him was multiplication or subtraction. Oh, okay, right.
Okay.
All right. Right, because back then, if you're smart enough to be writing, you're doing math.
Yeah.
Okay.
This man has an abacus between the ears.
Exactly. The life of a man was to him of far less value than a numeral, especially when, by taking it away, he could increase the sum total of his own desires. He went to bed at his usual hour and slept in peace. The son of a bitch.
Yeah, wow. Danglars. Calculating to the extreme.
Yeah.
Like literally calculating.
Yeah. Villefort, after having received Monsieur de Salvieux's letter, embraced Renee, kissed the Marquise's hand, and shaken that of the Marquis, started for Paris along the A road. Old Dantes was dying with anxiety to know what had become of Edmund, but we know very well what had become of Edmund. Aww.
But we know.
But we know.
But we know what
Readers, my dear readers, wink, wink.
Beloved
nudge, nudge.
reader.
Say no more, say no more.
So that's chapter 9. Let's just take a quick check to see how long chapter 10 is.
Yeah,
I don't think we're going to do that tonight. But we'll probably do it in a couple of days. Thank you so much for watching us read chapter 9 of The Count of Monte Cristo.
And listen to us read.
Oh, yeah, and listen to us read. Yeah, that was a lot. That was really interesting, especially towards the end here, where we're kind of like going past each of the characters again to see where they're at. Caderousse showing like some, I think some regret. You've got,
but not doing anything.
No,
That's
it's just
the
like
thing.
they have guilt, but then they're like, I just drink my sorrow.
People feel one way, but they do another.
Yeah,
thing.
they just inaction.
Yeah.
Just inertia.
Exactly. Inaction. Like, oh, there's nothing I can do.
Monsieur Morel tried some stuff, but then he was like, I'm despaired. I did everything I could, but this seems hopeless.
Yeah, you're right. He did try to do stuff.
Villefort was like, oh, if only someone told me I was being a bad boy, I would back out of this ASAP.
I cannot avoid it.
I am such a bad boy. But Danglars is the only one who I think is like, yeah, he went to bed at his usual hour and slept in peace. Just like put on his nightcap, little bit of milk, slept peacefully. Cold-blooded. Yeah. And Fernand is with Mercedes. I think he's just completely blinded by his infatuation with her.
I really hope he's gonna grow a heart and see Mercedes in pain and like dying and withering away. And I hope that I hope he grows one, and by that I mean a heart, and says something.
And
I kind of think probably not.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I have a feeling we cannot rely on any of these people, at least for the foreseeable future. I have a feeling we're going to be dealing with Dantes in prison for like a good chunk of this book. Yeah. We shall see. But very, very interesting. We got to see what was happening while Dantes was going through all of that stuff in prison. So we're probably all met up. Oh, well, you know what? I think there's a little bit more before we go back to Dantes. This next chapter is called The King's Closet at the Tuileries. I'm butchering that. But it sounds like we're going to maybe hear more about what Villefort has got going, what his scheme is. He's got some kind of
he definitely has a
insider
scheme.
trading scheme,
Something
some money
about,
thing.
His ambition.
His ambition. He's going to get just absolutely rewarded by the king. He's going to make serious bank. That's his plan anyways. But we don't know what that is.
No. But maybe we'll read it again in another couple days.
Yeah. Just follow me at Mike_Conley on Twitter, and I tweet on the days that I tweet on the days that we will be reading. That's how it works. But so that's it. Thanks again for watching Em and Mike read a book. I'm Mike.
I'm Em. Music.
Did you want to do the we'll do it for closing as well. Hold up.
Oh no.
Wasn't prepared for this.
I teed you up.
Here it is.
It's gonna be fun. Yes, indeed. Em and Mike read.
Thanks again for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.